We can instantly send high-definition video halfway across the planet, but if the person on the other end doesn't speak our native tongue, that incredible technology hits a wall. The friction of the language barrier is as old as human civilization itself. In global trade and international politics, a few dominant languages usually win out by default. This forces billions of non-native speakers to negotiate, study, and govern in a second or third language, putting them at an immediate disadvantage. For centuries, linguists and philosophers proposed an alternative, a constructed language. The idea was to engineer a neutral system from scratch so that no single culture holds the home field advantage. To truly level the playing field, humanity requires a language that belongs to everyone, precisely because it belongs to no single nation. In the late 19th century, a linguist named L.L. Zamenhof introduced what he called the international language. Today, we know it as Esperanto. Unlike English or Mandarin, which evolved organically over thousands of years with complex exceptions and irregular verbs, Esperanto was explicitly engineered for maximum ease of learning and logical consistency. The driving philosophy behind this linguistic architecture was total neutrality. Zamenhof wanted a system completely decoupled from specific political, religious, and ethnic conflicts, allowing people to connect purely as equals. A brilliantly constructed set of grammar rules is useless if it only exists in a dictionary. A language requires an active, living community speaking it every day to survive. The proof of Esperanto's success isn't found in its grammar books, but in the vibrant, quiet networks of people actively gathering to speak it right now. In Canada, this living linguistic experiment is facilitated by the Canada Esperanto Asocio, or CEA. The CEA operates as a strict non-profit educational association. Following the language's original philosophy, the organization completely avoids political, religious, or ethnic agendas, focusing entirely on fostering human connection. This map visualizes the sheer volume of Canada Esperanto Asocio events scheduled over a 2-year period. You might expect a niche language group to meet rarely, but as these pins show, there are hundreds of local meetups happening across the continent every single week. Starting on the East Coast, the community in Halifax holds regular Eons Cafejo meetups and weekend video conferences, structuring these gatherings so that speakers of all skill levels can jump in and practice. Moving into central Canada, the network density increases. Cities like Toronto and Montreal host evening social gatherings and specialized conversations for beginners right in the middle of physical cultural hubs like the Quartier Latin. The consistency and frequency of these local cafe meetings prove that Esperanto is an active, functioning daily tool for connection across Eastern Canada. Tracking further west, the network bridges the massive isolation of the Canadian landscape. Organizers run the Praria Kumziko, virtual hangouts designed to pull dispersed speakers across Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta into a single digital living room. Reaching the West Coast, Vancouver hosts its own monthly virtual meetups, while Victoria maintains a steady in-person rhythm with their Café of Ideas worth exploring. Beyond the weekly coffee shop chats, the community gathers for major milestones. Regional events like the Mekaro and the annual Zamenhof Festo draw speakers together to celebrate the language's history. The KEA also actively builds a shared cultural heritage through publishing. They distribute original literature and translate global classics into Esperanto, like Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince. The association sustains an entire parallel cultural geography across the continent, reaching far beyond the limits of a traditional classroom. You might be wondering why thousands of individuals choose to dedicate their free time to learning a language that no country officially claims. CEA members are driven by highly unique interests. Some join out of pure linguistic curiosity, while others use the language to explore global literature without relying on English translations. There was also a highly practical application for human-to-human communication. Since its early adoption by groups like international taxi drivers in Paris, Esperanto has been used to bypass the traditional tourist barrier, allowing travelers to speak directly with locals on equal footing. But the most common overarching motivation shared by the community is the active pursuit of world peace through mutual, equitable understanding. Learning Esperanto is less about memorizing a new grammar system and more about acquiring a unique, borderless passport to the world. Membership in the Canada Esperanto Asocio is completely open to absolutely anyone who supports the goal of equal global communication. You do not need to be a linguist or a polyglot to participate. The calendar is packed with beginner-friendly spaces and dedicated Comanchantos conversations, specifically meant for newcomers to stumble, learn, and improve together. The KEA's website and social channels provide the immediate starting point to find a local chapter or a virtual event near you. The global language barrier is absolutely massive, but the solution is already waiting at a local cafe or on a video call right in your backyard.